Welcome back to the Bluegrass on this beautiful March afternoon. Charlotte and I are headed over to the farm to do a little bit of maintenance because we have a lot of people coming in this week. And, you know, as we were trying to get ready, like you can hear in the background what's going on, all the dogs, they see the four-wheelers coming out and they see all the maintenance equipment coming out, and they have a tendency just to get a little bit out of sorts. That reminded me of an email I got last week. A fella had contacted me and he said, "Hey, Stonnie, I'm really trying to embrace this, you know, adventure dog owner lifestyle where I get my kids and dogs out and we go learn by doing." He said, "But unfortunately, look, you know, my days off are hard to come by, and what I have found is that, you know, by the time I get all the stuff loaded in the car and I've been dealing with, you know, an anxious puppy and an anxious child, I'm getting a little stressed, and I need some helps to, you know, I need some help to alleviate that stress because it's ruining my day. So instead of a fun adventure, I feel like it's turning into more work." Okay, first things first, guys. You have to understand that there is an inverse relationship between exercise and anxiety or misbehavior. Okay, so you can kind of hear in the background that the dogs are being a little crazy. So the first things we do is we run a little bit of that excess energy off of the dogs before we start to loading things in the car or in the truck or on the trailer. Okay, Charlotte, so come help me. Now, so, you know, if you're just a person with a dog, you just take your dog out and exercise. If you're a person that are managing children and dogs, then you recruit the children and dogs, you know, you recruit the child to help you with the dogs. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take off running, and we're gonna run some of this energy off of these dogs, and I'm also gonna run some energy off of
me.
You, that's right. Okay, so you take off. Now, the key with this drill is if you're an adult, especially if you're my age, you stand still and you have the kids and dogs running. All right. And we're just going to get a few reps here. And I'm not trying to make them super tired. I'm not trying to fatigue them to the point where we're not going to be able to adventure. I'm trying to, you know, get just enough of that excess energy off so that it makes me loading the truck, makes me loading the trailer, makes me, you know, on my drive to our adventure spot, it makes me able to maintain my sanity, okay? So the dogs are running around. Now, if you have some that aren't wanting to run as much and your child maybe is not wanting to run as much, you will have to get involved, okay? Come on, Charlotte, I'll run with you. Come up here and try to tag me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, you'd never get me. I'm gonna tag this dog. I'm gonna tag Hunter. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get that one. I'm gonna come over here and wrestle this guy. You can wrestle with them and play with them. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And you might be saying, "Hey, Stonnie, I don't know that I'm going to have time because it seems like every time that I try to get ready to go on an adventure, I'm running late." Well, look, if you've got children and you've got dogs, you're just going to be running late sometimes. That's the way it's going to be. And some other things that you have to think about is that you're going to forget something, okay? You're going to get to your adventure spot and you're going to forget your long line or you're going to forget your treats or whatever. So double up on everything that you need, okay? Now, once you've run a little bit of energy off, now we're going to head up here and I'm going to talk to you about how you deal with the inevitable boredom that precedes getting ready to go do something fun. All right, after a good little exercise session, you're going to notice that it's a lot easier to manage your dog. And so instead of running around the house picking up things with their mouth, they're going to kind of go, maybe lay down wherever you are, but they're still going to be a little on the bored side, and they're going to still have just a teeny bit of anxiety because they know that the big adventure comes later. So that's when a lot of times you will get some unexpected oral displacement behavior. I can tell you over and over and over again, I get emails where people talk about, "Hey, Stonnie, I've been out exercising my dog, and then I came in and the dog chewed up the couch." Well, that's because the dog came in and laid down and you thought you had exercised all the energy out, but not all of the energy, okay? You have to teach dogs how to be a little bit bored, okay? And you also have to teach children how to be a little bit bored. So you went outside and you did some exercise with your children and your dogs, right? And you think you've got everything on lock, and then what happens? The dog starts chewing on stuff and the child comes up and says,
"I'm bored."
You're bored? Okay. Yeah. Here's the best advice I can ever give you for dealing with a bored dog or a bored child. Teach them to look for work. So when Charlotte says, "I'm bored," what I hear is I'm looking for work to do, okay? So if you're bored, look for some work. Go take that dog and work on our basic vocabulary and work on his impulse control and work on his physical skills so that we are ready to adventure once we hit the adventure spot, okay? All right, now while Charlotte is out working with her dog, go on there. While Charlotte is out working with her dog, okay, I'm going to be loading the truck or the trailer or whatever it is. Okay, now while I'm loading the truck or trailer, that's a perfect time for me to remind the dog that like some things might pop up that's going to be exciting or going to be scary, and the dog still has to mind whoever is handling them. So if I have, like in this case, I have a blower just on my way over here to the four-wheeler. You know, in your situation, it might be like a block rocker, you know, some type of music playing device. Who knows what it is, okay? But whatever you're going to be doing that day, just remind the dog that if that comes in play, that hasn't got anything to do with, you know, the dog being able to get out of sorts, right? So there's a blower, so there's some loud music, so there's some food on the ground, whatever it is that you think that you might be popping into, you're running into, okay? Charlotte's going on over there, and I'm going to keep loading the truck, loading the car, or in my case, loading this four-wheeler. Okay. All right. Now, whatever you're going to do, okay, that's how you structure your day. So the next thing I'm going to show you, just think about what you're going to do and then practice. So for us, we always have to take a 4x4, or we have to take an ATV or a side-by-side when we go places, and the dogs need to be able to stay out of the way if they're on the ground. They need to be able to ride quietly if they're up on the four-wheeler. So we will take and spend a few minutes getting the dog up here, getting him on the ATV. Now this is what you might run into sometimes, especially if your dog is a little bit tired. You see how that dog's being resistant there? Okay. There's the dog in the tunnel? Okay. So that's the kind of stuff that happens. There we go. You're out with your dog and there's going to be an impediment, and your child's going to have to learn to deal with impediments, and the dog's going to have to learn to deal with impediments, okay? That's what I'm saying. It's not taking me much extra time. It's actually saving me time, because where Charlotte was bored a second ago and the dog was maybe a little bored and he didn't have anything to do, so maybe he's laying around chewing on stuff that he shouldn't be. When I put him to work, there's a few lessons to be reviewed before we go to our actual adventure spot, okay? Now the next lesson we're going to review is how to behave around the equipment. All right, Charlotte, bring him over here and put him on the four-wheeler. Now I've got to load the four-wheeler on the trailer anyway, okay? So how long does it really take me to put the dog up here and remind him? Are you getting up there too, nerd? How long does it take me to put him up there and remind him of, you know, the kind of odors that he's going to be exposed to, the vibrations, okay? And then I'll probably just go ahead and ride the four-wheeler over to the trailer. Now at your house, let's say that you're loading a kayak or a canoe or whatever, you know, go ahead and put it out there on the grass and load the dog in it 2 or 3 times. You're just greasing the groove. That's a very important concept in dog training. It's just, you know, like taking lessons that you've taught before and reviewing them before you put them into action, okay? Now the next thing that we would like to be able to do, come on, oh, is make sure that even when the dog is tired, okay, that they're going to pay attention. And so some things in dog training have to get done simply because I said so. We say that over and over again. You have to do it just because I said so. Now, so see this dog, he's ready to go on an adventure. So what he does, he popped up there and he said, well, listen, I'm going to stay up there. And I said, hey, come on, let's go. And he said, well, I'm going to stay on the four-wheeler. I know the four-wheeler is going someplace fun. I'm just going to hang out up there. And so that gives me an opportunity to remind him that regardless of what he wants to do, what I want to do takes precedence, okay? And there's no better way to remind them than to put the dog on the edge of something fun and just make them wait. They just got to wait there. Now, Charlotte, you're in charge of making that dog wait there, okay? And then I'm going to take my other four-wheeler and put it on the trailer. So I have to drive past the cameraman here. Now, as I go, that dog might want to go with me, but what he has to realize is sometimes there's going to be fun had, sometimes there's going to be neat stuff to be done, and he doesn't get to be involved. The faster he learns that he's not the center of attention, the easier it is to take him adventuring. Okay, so we knocked that out. Very good. All right, so then the last thing there is to do is just get in the car, you know? So we get in the car, we get in the truck, and we take off. And if we've done a good job preparing the dog for our adventure, what we're going to get in the car is we're going to get a nice, quiet dog who has had just enough exercise that morning to kind of knock the edge off of any potential misbehavior, and we're going to have had just enough review of our basic obedience lessons that the dog shows good impulse control and has a good attention span. And that way, when we get off to our adventure spot, it makes everything easier. Now here's the key. When you get to your adventure spot, you want to go through a mini version of that same thing. Even though you're going on a big hike, you're going on a big venture, you're going to do some fun water sports, okay? Go ahead, run a little bit, let him right out of the car, run a little bit of that energy off, okay? Then review your basic obedience, then start in with your actual adventure, okay? And then on the way home, expect for the children and dogs to be a little tired and grumpy, okay? So the real key to managing the way home is to make sure that the children and dogs are tired enough, okay, so that if you give them a snack, they'll pass out and go right to sleep in the back seat on the way home. Okay, so just for review, okay, to get ready for an adventure day, number one, expect things to go wrong. Expect to be off schedule, expect to forget things, because life gets in the way of perfect dog training. Life gets in the way of perfect kid training, right? You just got to get your head around that. All we can do is the best we can do. Now, number two, there's an inverse relationship between exercise and anxiety. Okay, so we always, whenever we're put in a situation where we know that the stimulation from the environment is going to cause the dog to be a little too excited, we're proactive and we run a little bit of that energy off. Okay, number three, basic obedience solves all problems. Okay, so if we have a dog and his energy is in a proper regulatory format, then it's just a matter of reminding him that some things have to be done simply because we said so. Okay, and then on the way home, everybody needs a snack and everybody needs some rest. Okay, so that's really it, guys. A few easy steps to guarantee that your adventure training sessions are fun and not so stressful. All right, I'll see you guys next week.